sense to me, Dan, at a time when so many people are hurting because of high unemployment, a tight economy, these charities are helping more people than ever. And in fact, I can't hardly pick up a paper on any given day and not read about a food bank that's short on food, or some other charity that is running in the red. And we're talking about making that even worse?
Tony, that's what is so ironic. At a time when the nation is seemingly locked in a long-term economic crisis with no light at the end of the tunnel, and it's created a greater need for charitable organizations than in any recent time. And for several years, what we hear from charities, and our data suggests that charities have been doing more with less each year for a number of years. And so it is a very ill-timed discussion.
Let's go back and explain exactly what they're looking at. I know that they're looking at the top donors and capping the amount that they can give and write off. So some of those, and we're not just talking about charities such as, let's say, the Samaritan's Purse or the Salvation Army. I mean, this would affect all philanthropic giving. I mean, this would affect those educational institutions, the museums, the symphonies. So, I mean, this could have a real dramatic impact in communities across America.
Absolutely. Would reductions in charitable gift benefits impact churches as much as other charities? Well, probably not. The commitment of givers to their local church will remain strong. But charities other than churches will be most greatly impacted. And as you said, it would affect charities across the board. We doubt if Congress will have the nerve to step up and specifically pick on the charitable deduction. They'll probably wrap it in a package with all itemized deductions or trade it off for a credit. But this all means a higher cost of giving, and that less gifts will be provided, less services provided to those who need it the most.
What's interesting, a few years ago, Arthur Brooks wrote a book called Who Really Cares? I don't know if you're familiar with that book, but it was all about giving and charitable giving. And he did an analytical study. He was a professor of public administration and looked at the both tangible and intangible benefits of giving, the multiplier effect, really, of charitable contributions. And the results of it were, without question, the positive impact that it has upon both the giver and the receiver, which does not take place when there is a transfer from government contributions. So what I see happening here, Dan, I don't know, this is my commentary. You can comment on it if you want, but I see government in the book. Arthur kind of makes this point that there is. The government is squeezing out charitable organizations by moving more into being the deliverer of these so-called charitable services, but the benefits are not there. The tangible benefits are not there. And this squeeze out, this crowding out, I think is being accelerated by removing this charitable tax deduction.
I couldn't agree more. And additionally, I think what is overlooked is that the charitable deduction is fundamentally different than other itemized deductions in that it encourages individuals to give away a portion of their income or other assets to those in need, while the other deductions and credits encourage people to consume more of something. The charitable deduction rewards a selfless act, and it encourages taxpayers to give more funds to charities than they would otherwise have given.
What can people do at this point? How far along down the path is this process, and what are the chances of turning this back, and how can people weigh in?
Well, there are two possibilities. There could be legislation introduced that would impact the charitable deduction by December 21st before Congress goes home, or they could punt it to 2013. But my take is that we are late in the game, and so if individuals who are listening to your program place a high value on the current charitable giving incentives, I think it's a good time to let senators and representatives know how you feel. My take is our society is greatly enriched by charities and the tax breaks that support charities simply work, and we need to leave the system in place that encourages givers to be generous.
How can people weigh in? What's the best way for them to do this? Contact their members of Congress?
Yes, directly contact members of Congress, I think, is the best way.
All right, Dan, thanks so much. I appreciate all the work that ECFA does, and especially looking out for the benefit of all nonprofit organizations, especially those involved in the ministry of the kingdom.
Thank you, Tony.
All right, that was Dan Busby. He is with the ECFA, and we were talking about this zeroing in. Washington's always looking for more revenue, and as he pointed out, as we move closer toward this fiscal cliff, I mean, I think we can hear the rocks going over the edge right now. The talk is about revenue. It's not about cutting spending, which is where we should be. And in fact, just a minute, I'm going to go to let me